Hey guys, it's Gary again with another legal tip. And I don't know about y'all, but if I never hear the word COVID again, I'll be the happiest person in the world. I know everybody's sick and tired of dealing with it. We all have some good friends that are dealing very much so with this disease right now and just ready for everybody to be able to get back to real life. But I am starting to get a lot of phone calls on this very question. We're having clients that are unable to perform because they have COVID. Had a seller just recently that it came to closing, had COVID. Luckily, we had them sit in their car with the windows up, doors closed. And what we did is we had to put the documents on the top of the car. They then got out of the car, put them in the car, signed them, and then put them back on top of the car. We brought them in with gloves, Lysoled them down, let them sit on the floor for about 2 hours before we even touched them. And, so we don't want people doing that. The question I've been getting recently is I've got a client who's severe case of COVID. They can't get out of bed or they're even in the hospital. What happens? Do they still have to come to closing? How does this work? Well, the answer is in what's called the Doctrine of Impossibility. And I want you to, basically the doctrine is this. It believes in the concept of law, under contracts law, that grants relief to the person who's promised to do something when the contract performance is basically vitally different from what was reasonably expected to him due to the occurrence of some supervening event. So basically what they're talking about, I want you to think of it this way, is if I'm under contract with you and I die, obviously I can't perform. So how can you sue me for non-performance? I've died. Let's say I become mentally incapacitated. I am unable to reason. I'm unable to think. I say I have Alzheimer's or I'm in a coma. I cannot perform because I'm incapacitated. I don't have the capacity to sign the deed or the documents. Think about if I was selling your house and the house is destroyed. How can I perform and sell you the house when the house is destroyed? Or let's say the law changes and what I wanted to do was sell you my business that sells alcohol, but all of a sudden we have a prohibition against selling alcohol in the state of South Carolina. It'd be unconstitutional, but just think about that back in 1918. So this concept has been out there for a while, and it has been adopted modernly as well. The rationale of impossibility is premised on balancing the community's interest in having the contract enforced according to the terms against the commercial senselessness of requiring performance. So let's talk about this in terms of COVID. If you're in the hospital with COVID, we're in a world pandemic. We have the CDC, the World Health Organization, saying when you have COVID, you should not ever go around somebody. You need to quarantine. If you're in the hospital with COVID, you're not in there like you're having knee surgery where you can have people visit you. You're not even allowed to have visitors in the hospital. So to say that somebody is in the hospital with COVID should go ahead and perform is asinine. And I'm tired, and I'm going to get a little emotional here. I'm tired of these buyers and sellers saying, well, I don't care if they can't come to closing or not. They need to do something. I actually had one the other day saying somebody need to go to the hospital and get these people to sign the deed. The answer to that's no. It's crazy. I'm not going to put my life in danger or my family's life in danger or your life in danger or somebody else's to go get a deed. First of all, the hospital won't even let you in. So at some point, real estate agents just got to stand up to your clients. Now, you remember, your clients control, they make the decisions. But that doesn't mean that you can't voice your opinion on these situations. And when your client's being an ass, and that's exactly what they are, saying that if this buyer in the hospital can't get out of the hospital bed and come do it, I'm going to sell it to somebody else, tell them to quit being an ass, because they're being an ass. We're in a world pandemic. We cannot have people come to closing that are deadly sick or infect somebody else. And at some point, if they're not willing to understand, some of us have to do what one of my great agents did the other day and just said, I'm done with you. I'm not going to represent you anymore. Find somebody else, because I don't represent people like you. It's unbelievable how people are. And I've talked about this, has COVID made everybody into a bunch of a-holes? And I'm beginning to think in some sense it has. But when you have COVID, you're hospitalized or you're quarantined, it's impossible for you to perform. So I do not believe in South Carolina, when we have moratoriums on tenants being evicted for non-payment of rent due to COVID, that a court's going to hold somebody in default because they have COVID and they can't come to closing. That's my 2 cents. No, I'm getting pissed about it, but it's getting a little bit much when people keep calling you going, my buyer or my seller wants out of the contract or wants to do something because these people can't come to closing. They're in the hospital with COVID. So there you have it. Hope you enjoyed it. Y'all have a great weekend.